where some of these fucking conservatives and evangelicals will just stubbornly fucking digging their heels in the sand, bro. It's like, are you seriously going to sit there and tell me you're going to be unequivocal about this issue that you've consistently lost on for 50 fucking years, according to the culture, the public, even if it's just the left-wing centers of the country, you're still talking about like more than half of the fucking country has this sort of liberal framework about what abortion is. They think it's a fucking clump of cells because, most people, if you convince them on the fucking 12 or 15 weeks with the heartbeat one, I think a lot of people can understand that logic and understand it. But they let the left control the fucking narrative all the time because they refuse to defend anything they fucking care about. They let the left control the narrative all the time. They'll talk about how we need to have abortion just in case for the fucking mothers, whatever, and then they give them basically limitless restrictions on what they can do with abortion because you might need it for something. So here we go. We're making a fucking blanket law about how you could do whatever you want after 35 months of pregnancy because something might happen to some mother, but it didn't happen to you. And they just like, that's how they inch the line, bro. They play that fucking game. They will get what they can get. And then in 4 years, when it's time to campaign, what do they campaign on? They keep campaigning on pushing the line. Republicans won't do that. With some of these fucking evangelicals, bro, it was basically like, well, we just want zero, no abortion whatsoever. And yes, that's the right stance. But would you rather have 200%, or would you rather have limitless abortion, or would you rather have 15-month abortion in the interim? Which one is going to save more lives? It's going to be the 15-month ban or the 12-month ban. Weeks. The 15-week or the 12-week ban. That's what's going to start pushing the line. And then you let that be for about 10 or 15 years, and people will see that they're not literally trying to fucking play with women's bodies, and then that'll start to push the line on the culture. And once people get comfortable with what it is, then you push the line again. That's literally the tactics that the left uses, bro. They play like they're fucking slowly moving up the field. They're trying to kill as much clock as possible, and they want to make sure that if they get to the end zone that they might not fucking score a touchdown, but they're going to kick a field goal and they're going to leave you with no fucking time on the clock. That's what they're doing. They're doing that shit to us. What like our strategy of just throw fucking Hail Marys and hope we have a superstar that could just put the whole team on the back. It's a dumb fucking strategy. We need to start being more tactical and cerebral with this shit. We keep thinking like we're the fucking masters of this domain. We're not, bro. We're dealing with the fucking slave morality right now. And we need to convince the master that they shouldn't have their fucking power. There's many ways that we can do this, but we continue to be stubborn. There's always a grassy knoll right next to the football field. Yeah. Oh, man. There are so many activist judges. Yeah. They make shit up, and Donald Trump goes along with it, bro. Just fucking goes along with it. It's ridiculous. At what point in history did mothers stop being willing to die during childbirth if it meant their child could live? That's a great question. The answer would probably be sometime after World War II, I'd imagine. That's when they started to, that's when the marketing, bro. That's when the marketing started to tell women they could do the jobs that men could do while the men are at work. While the men are at war dying, women are holding down the fort. They needed to market that idea to women quickly. And then they kept marketing it to it because they realized they were making money off of it. And then all of a sudden, the sex revolution and all that shit, they're able to market that to make more money because sex sells. You start to expose sex to young men who have never seen sex before. You start to sell Playboy magazines. Now all of a sudden a man can see a pair of titties and he doesn't need to worry about like fucking being rejected. It changed the game. The marketing, it slowly started to push the marketing that way. And they basically, you're talking about that's like one of the top instances which they started taking advantage of people's psychology. They started to basically manipulate it. So when the left used to talk about the institutionalized isms, like that does exist, bro. There literally was institutionalized at the institution. they did whatever they could to be detrimental towards the populations. Where the left loses as it is, they think that's like synonymous with like everyday white people. Like all white people need to answer for the fact that like 80 people hijacked our fucking government. Complete ridiculous mischaracterization of it all. And but they've attached these things in the school system. They've attached these ideas together to basically mean the same thing. So now people are like, they see these things as synonyms, bro. They don't see the distinction between them. That's what Marxists do so well, is they remove all nuance. They remove all nuance and categorical differences between words, and they start to merge them together, because if you can't change people's opinions, then change language. It's a deep cerebral game that they're playing. MA allows abortion up to birth now. Psychos. Yep. I think Colorado already did. New York most likely probably does. But they've completely figured out how to manipulate our psychology on a base level, and they overstimulate us with things that are supposed to be scarce, and it causes our psychology to start fucking flipping out. You know? Just like stimulation overload. They just stimulate us with a bunch of shit. And we get crazy, bro. We go fucking nuts, man. Like, we're not used to it. Like, we're not used to this level of extreme comfort. You know, people haven't, some people can go through life and not even have a violent confrontation. Like, that's crazy. I'm not saying that you should have a violent confrontation. I'm just saying, like, we have like 800% more people than from a previous time in which people used to experience some sort of physical confrontation, whether it be with a large animal or maybe some sort of war, or maybe like some local confrontation. And now you got 800% more people in the fucking world, and some people could just get through life and not even experience anything. Like we've trained people to be dopamine addicts and fucking soft fucking unconfrontational people who keep just chasing their vices. That's what we've trained. Our society, through the institutions, have trained that. The structures have trained that. Joey, there are structural injustices, but they're always not the structures that the manipulators are pointing to. During the third trimester, there is no reason to kill the baby, even when the life of the mother is at stake. The baby needs to be delivered either way. These people are just evil. They are just evil, and they've been able to manipulate the narrative to normies to make it seem like they're fighting for a just cause. That's what they did during COVID, too. They asked the young to sacrifice for the old. When the fuck does that happen in history, bro? When the hell does that ever happen? When does that ever happen? Doesn't make sense. Something, those who make peaceful resolutions impossible make violent confrontations inevitable. Because what else do they have left? If they can't even negotiate their peace at the table, what do they have to lose? That's that. But look at Luigi Mangione and Tyler Robinson. That's what they've been training. They're training their people to think like this. I need to take my if you guys want me to continue this show, I need to take my contacts out. I'll keep going. I need to adjust my eyes. You guys got to give me a second. Please don't leave. I'm begging you, don't leave. I feel like I'm on a roll. Tell me if am I hitting all the right spots, baby? You feeling it? You feeling it, girl? Am I hitting everything? What? Am I hitting it? Yeah, you want more? Yeah. Let me just take my contacts out first, boo. Oh my god, I might need to turn my lights off, bro. Holy shit. I need to change my contacts desperately. I made it clear the day I found out I was expecting. That I want the baby saved before me if I ever came to that. Aw. Holy fuck! I gotta stop being stubborn and just change my contacts, dude. Maybe if I put new contacts in right now. Holy shit, my eyes are burning, dude. Joey, are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? I don't know that joke. I don't listen to. My point is more about the reality that women have failed as mothers because many are more concerned saving the life of the mother. Oh, yeah. But that's like I said. That's sort of like that's the moralistic way they've been trying to teach people from. So when you said like before that like we need to start teaching these things to people. Yes, that's it. We need to start teaching. I think we're talking about the same thing, Cyber, because like we need to start teaching these things on a it's going to be a generational thing, and they've sort of shaped these moralistic arguments generationally over the span of 2 or 3 generations. They've sort of shown people or taught them that this is actually the way to look at it, and it's sort of antithetical to all that we knew previously. But that's also why they need to reinforce that way of thinking by saying that the institutions were forcing us to think this way. We don't need to think that way anymore. The institutions were holding us down. So they take something that is true. It's true that the institutions are ruining our fucking lives. And they're misrepresenting how those institutions have affected us. So they can manipulate the argument and change. They sort of, instead of winning the argument, they've slowly changed the argument by categorical misrepresentations and changing the definitions of words and shit. They've slowly made that change. So I think what you're saying and what I'm agreeing with is we need to get down there on the ground level and start to slowly change it back while also fighting a present war that we're in, a present ideological war. So we need to sink the roots in generationally, which means have kids with, full families. We might need to compromise on certain things here and there, and you need to find what is acceptable and which ones basically drive the stake into the hearts of the real enemy the most. That needs to be your priority list. If that means you need to deal with a 15-week abortion ban before we can get to an absolute abortion ban, then you have to take that. If that means that we need to, compromise on some other thing that, I don't like it, but let's get the power back first and then we can change that. Like, there needs to be some compromise there. People need to stop being so fucking stubborn about shit. Corporate Joe is on the scene. Joey has his glasses. I had to switch to the glasses. My fucking contacts are killing me. I got to stop being so stubborn and just change them. The position, I think, is that they're normalizing going into the might become pregnant positions without conceptualizing of themselves as mothers. And, so much about sex, with sex, them using sex as a marketing scheme, they're encouraging people to engage in this sort of behavior. They're encouraging them to basically wash their hands of all responsibility. So when you deal with like a desperate 19-year-old and you present to them like, hey, you don't need to feel bad about this because actually a baby is just a clump of cells. Like, now the best way to teach people is when they're young and learning or when they're desperate and afraid. Those are the best teachers. Stockholm syndrome, people get manipulated easily because they're desperate and afraid, and they change their behavioral patterns to match what their fucking manipulator wants them to do. So, like they're like, the way you learn after you become a fully functioning adult is basically with positive trauma or negative trauma. Like, traumatic things could happen. I guess positive trauma is sort of like an oxymoron, but what I mean is like, I had positive trauma. I don't like to talk about like the conditions on which I had to deal with for the first 29 years of my life. But once I got to a place where I was able to become healthy, that's positive trauma. 5 days after taking my medicine, when I took a breath and I felt full oxygen inside of my lungs and I didn't cough when I woke up, like, that was positive trauma to me. Is I felt something world changing that completely on a dime changed the way that I saw the world. And no matter how much I try to think about how I used to be, I don't think in that way anymore. Like my mentality was changed immediately. I had such appreciation for life at that point. And because of that appreciation I had for life, when I get like these, when I feel these moments, and when I meet such great amazing people, it's just like I can't let that slip away. I have too much appreciation for the beauty in life, and I want to, like, I never want to take advantage of that, you know? And even though sometimes maybe that means I'm going to fall a little hard because I don't want to let go, it's also, I don't regret it, and I would never change it now, because it's great to be able to see the value of life because I already accepted death. It's like a release almost. It's like I'm no longer afraid to die. And I think people need to get to that point too, because like I'm not afraid. Like, you know, I got a lot of people in my personal life that don't want me to do this. They don't want me to speak like this on the internet because they're afraid of what might happen to me. But I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid at all. In fact, I want it. I want to be in this fight. The times call on great men to appear. Well, I'm throwing my hat in that ring, man. I'm trying to be some sort of change. And if for any reason I try to grow my channel and put the effort in to do what I do, is to try to get to that point where I could have some level of influence to help kids growing up, and, you know, try to help them understand and shape the world in a positive way. That's going to make them better soldiers, man. It's going to make them better soldiers in this game. That's what I want. I don't give a shit about the money, bro. I'm perfectly content living in my 1-bedroom apartment in fucking New York. I'm perfectly fine with it. I don't need a lot to be happy, because I have the best gift of all, and that's life. I don't need a lot to be happy. You know? Everything I got right now, you know, all you guys, the friends I'm meeting along the way doing this shit, like, the whole process is fun for me. I'm having fun. I haven't had fun like this in my whole life. It's been great. I've met, you guys don't even understand all the great people I've met. Like, that's, talk about a white pill. It's like, there's so much potential out there. And I want people to know that they can be great too. Just because everything in life is set up to crush them, you know, pressure can create dust, or it can create diamonds. The only difference is how you choose to apply yourself. Are you just going to give in and let yourself crumble? Or are you going to push back and become a diamond? You know what I mean? And I choose to I like to believe that we all have that power in ourselves to, in the face of your nature, in the face of the trained behavior that you've been manipulated into, once you have that acknowledgement, and once you accept what has happened, and once you accept that I will die before I see the end of this goal, but I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure the next generation is strong and disciplined and vigilant. That's what I want. If I don't ever have any kids, I want to know that I helped all my friends who did have kids, and that I was able to hopefully impart some sort of wisdom onto my friends that they pass on to their kids. That's what I want. I don't give a shit about the fucking money. I don't really care. I can cover my bills doing what I'm doing. I don't care about the money. You know, just give me some fucking video games. If you got a couch I can sleep on, I'll come visit you. We could hang out, bro. I don't want to, like, I don't care about the monetary return that I get. And I know some people do, and I don't have a problem with that, though, because, like, I understand that's what you have to do. But I personally don't need it, so I'm not going to thumb my nose at people who are doing what they got to do. Please, keep doing it, man. Just never forget where you came from. Never forget where you came from. If I could just ask that. I understand maybe sometimes you might need to compromise on what you consider to be the truth. But at its core of it all, never forget where you came from. Because once you lose that, Once you forget where you came from, then you're lost. How could you know where you're going if you don't know where you've been? So, I don't know. That's my plea to people, man. Just try to be better. And I'll help you along the way. I will never not turn down somebody in need of help because it could affect my standing as a fucking streamer. I always got my friends back. And I hope that I could be the gap that bridges between warring factions. I want to be that. I want everyone to, I want to try as hard as I can on whatever level I'm at to get the people that I'm dealing with in my immediate life to be better to each other, to be better for themselves. And because if we do that, if we can prove that we could do that on this level, we could do it at a higher level. And once we do it at a higher level, now we're starting to see that generational change. We have to do that, man. We have to realize where it is. We need to realize where the line is, man. It's like put up or shut up. I don't have the fucking platform of some of these guys. I don't even know. Dude, like, play this tape back in the future if I ever fucking change. But if I had a bigger platform, I don't know. Maybe I would do some things that right now I say I wouldn't do. I don't know. But all I do know is that if you ever, like, I try to position myself with people that are going to basically tell me to shut the fuck up when they feel it appropriate. I want people who can speak to me in a way that I understand, too. I want people to, tell me when I'm getting out of line, and because I trust their words so much, and because I know that they have the same goals as me and they have my best interests at heart, that they're going to tell me what I need to hear because I'm not acting right. That's what I want. I don't want people to be afraid ever to talk to me. I'll hear, look at me talking like I'm fucking anything. I'm not anything. But I never want to get to that point where I compromise on justice and realness for the sake of chasing a fucking dollar. As long as I can be in the fucking green, I don't care. I don't care. I haven't lost any money streaming, bro. I had this microphone. I got this audio interface because I used to do music. All I did was buy an $80 camera. I upgraded my PC, but I was going to do that shit anyway. That's all I want. I want y'all to be better, man. I want people to be more understanding. And I don't mean understanding in a stupid, I'm a fucking dumb liberal type of way. You have to understand that people go through things. People have stories of their own. And every path that they're on, every decision that they make, you got to realize they're going through that everyday battle of, I have to make one of these two choices, and sometimes they're all not fucking pretty choices. Sometimes life gives us shit, and we have to fucking deal with it. I try never to be too judgmental of people for that. And I don't want people to feel bad about themselves if they get put in a position where it's a catch-22. You should never feel bad about it. There's so much nuance to life. And we try to fit everything into, like, neatly worded fucking romanticist, like, fucking pieces of literature or some shit. I found this poetic way to describe the world, so it means it must always be like that. I don't know. There's multiple ways to describe the same phenomenon. Sometimes there's situations that look similar, but they're not similar. I try to be very cognizant of this. I try not to let what might be perceived as red flags affect my understanding or perception on somebody, because not everybody's the same. Not like feelings could be similar, but the way you got to those feelings are not. It's not the same. It doesn't require the same solution. It's read and react. It's back to sports again. What's the defense giving you? What's your feeling as an offensive player? Do you feel desperation? You could feel desperation in many, many types of scenarios. But depending on the scenario, you deal with it differently. You understand what I'm saying? So just because two people might be in a similar situation doesn't mean that the set of circumstances that got them there are equal all the time. And I guess that's what the left wants with equity is, like, no matter how you struggled, it doesn't matter. We're going to elevate you. Well, it's things are different. And I think out of convenience for society so it can function quickly and properly. Hey, what's up, Lava Speed? I think we try to make it so that everything fits into one box, but things don't fit into the box. And in order to have a functioning society, we need that inconvenience. There needs to be that level of inconvenience. It keeps us on our toes. We need to start finding what conditions society can be in to keep us in a state of vigilancy with just a enough smattering of desperation that we can still, from generation to generation, naturally develop these skill sets that we need to be competent people in society, so that these tricks that the fucking fat cats and the corporate people and the government working with them play on us, they won't affect us as much. If we don't feed into it, it doesn't work. So at the end of the day, the way we fix this is by looking in the mirror and realizing that you're the real enemy. The only person holding you back is you. Always work hard. If you're chasing your dream, work as hard as possible. Don't take the easy way around. Get your hands dirty. There's no quick fucking route to success. If you get a viral moment that makes you popular, you were just in the right place at the right time. So maybe you should try to, people try to recreate the conditions of luck. They try to manipulate luck. They try to chase luck. And you can't really chase luck. You can try. You might be able to slightly increase your odds a little bit at the expense of looking desperate, though. At the expense of looking phony. Is it really something that pays off? I don't think it does. I think if more people were just real and they just worked hard at what they wanted instead of just wanting a fucking immediate return, they paid their dues, it would create a much more functioning society. There'd be like a real natural hierarchy. Become an apprentice first, and then become a blacksmith. You're not just going to come out the gate as a blacksmith unless you're one of the most exceptional people. Those otherworldly exceptional people are great. They're just great for no fucking reason. Life ain't fair. Life ain't fair. It's like that. Life is a lottery. You cannot choose the cards that you're dealt. Yeah, you can't choose the cards. You just got to know how to play it. That's why I don't judge people, man. That's why I can't judge people. Joey, let me fit into that box. Let me fit in that box, toots. Joey, I don't have a box for that. Don't have a box for that. It doesn't exist. If we can't fit that into a category, it doesn't exist. You watch that EDP 445 documentary? No? What the fuck is that? I think I remember Ryan, Roger, and Tyler talking about this on their show the other day, but I don't watch anything about content creators, bro. I don't give a shit. I don't idolize these fucking people. They're not celebrities to me. So I don't know anything about them, and I don't really care to look up anything about them. I don't even know if it is a celebrity. It could just be some random fucking person. I don't know. If it's not in my top 5 priority list, I don't really pay attention to it much. I think all my friends are more talented than most of the people that are famous anyway. All we need is to continue to be hardworking, disciplined, consistent, and at some point there will be a moment in which we need to sink or swim, and that's our moment to swim. That's what it comes down to. You just be ready for your sink or swim moments, and then grab that shit when it comes, and don't let it go. That's the secret. That's the secret, guys. Consistency, discipline, vigilancy, hard work, consistency. And if you have these things, if you're a 5-tool player, if you have these things, when these moments arise that require you to sink or swim, you will now have the skill set to most likely swim instead of sinking. But if you are fucking lazy and you cheat every way and you try every fucking roundabout way to do something instead of just doing those fucking 5 pillars, instead of being a 5-tool player or even a 3-tool player, you will fail when the moment arises. But you got to take into account, though, there is that small percentage of unprepared people that have something so great fall in their lap. And sometimes people you don't like, people who don't deserve it, are going to succeed. Are you going to let that affect your hard work, though? Are you going to let that affect your discipline? Are you going to let that affect your consistency? No. It's a test, bro. Sometimes the universe tests people differently. Sometimes that random person just got success because an overwhelming group of us need to have something to look at to motivate us. You ever think about that? Some of these people that don't deserve their success are there so that we fucking work hard. So that we know, you know what? Us fucking good, honest people, we need to get there too. And we're not going to let these fucking people monopolize that. I'm not going to let that fact that this fucking cocksucker who's a piece of shit, fucking human filth, but he's rolling in the dough. I'm not going to let that stop my consistency. I'm not going to let that stop my hard work or discipline. I'm going to keep going, bro. I'm going to be prepared for when it's my moment to grab that fucking brass ring, and I'm going to pull it in, and I'm going to shove my fucking fist right up its ass.